Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to check something really quickly here, if I can. Oh, goodness. Let's just make sure we can hear me clearly. Going to mute you all for one moment just to make sure that the sound is good. Okay, looks like the sound is good. Going to go live on a few other platforms real quick. Let me just minimize this real quick. And let's go live on one other platform. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just making sure that you guys can hear me and see me clearly today, because yesterday was a little disastrous. So in the comment section of this video on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, wherever we're at, if you can give this video a heart or a thumbs up and let me know that you can hear me and see me clearly, that would be most beneficial for me. And it just lets me know that everything is working properly. I do realize that the fan is on, so I hope you can hear me over the fan. Let's just see real quick. Okay. Welcome. Okay, Patrick, can you hear me clearly? If you can let me know in the comments section, Patrick, that would be most beneficial to me. I would greatly appreciate it. The sooner the better. Can you all hear me clearly? Just going to wait for someone to respond. And we're going to get right into this really healing video for all of you. Deborah's on. Hey, can hear and see you. Oh, thank God, Deborah. Wonderful. Thanks so much. So today I'm going to do something a little different. So welcome those of you who are new to me and don't know who I am. I am Andrea Cox. I am an intuitive and holistic wellness specialist. I have been a vegan educator, living foods enthusiast for 23 years. I have a little dog over there that's over 20, so we're going to let him bark. He's actually barking, thinking I'm upstairs because he doesn't see me down here because he's a little blind, but that's okay. We're just going to let him. We're going to let Lewis go, and we're going to clear the energy. Lewis, mommy's in here, honey. We're gonna usually like vibration, or he'll feel me pass him and he'll come in here, but he can't hear anything. So what can you say? He's up there, but he's healthy and great. So today I thought it would be great. And by the way, if you're watching me here on Facebook, you can join me on Instagram at Raw Chef Andrea. If you are joining me on Instagram, you can join me on Facebook or TikTok at Andrea Lee, Leigh Cox. And on the Detox Intuitive, which is my spiritual channel on YouTube, and also Andrea Cox TV, which is my holistic wellness channel. So I thought what I would do today is share with all of you something that I went through and how I have learned to, oh, and please give this video a heart, a thumbs up. There Lewis is. There you are, buddy. Mommy's right here. See the shadow? So what can I say? My dog's over 20. So come here, buddy. So, you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with all of you something that I've went through for a long period of time that I was, quote, forced to endure, and how I found my peace through it. So for example, if you've ever been in a really traumatic situation where you've had to find your peace and your footing in a situation that was just unfair or odd or weird or strange or confusing, or where you were deliberately having to go through some type of struggle or forced to be kind of stuck or glued in something that you didn't want to be stuck or glued with, I'm going to show you and teach you how to find your footing and to keep your peace throughout that. So continue, giving me hearts, telling me where you're tuning in from in the comments. I'm actually going to break up the energy with the singing bowls. And I'm going to do a little reading at the end of this video. So let's just call in our higher power, our guides, our ancestors, God, and whatever you believe in, and just, in the light, and just ask that any messages that need to come through to you right now during this session with me come through to you. Go around this bowl 3 more times, and I want you to just expand and open your heart. And those of you who want to support my business, you can pick up my book, Eat Right for Your Zodiac, on Barnes & Noble and AndreaCox.com, Barnes & Noble online, in Target stores online, or anything of that nature. So I'm going to share with you, as I draw a little bit of an intuitive guidance card for the collective to see what we're going through. I'm going to share with you something that I went through over a course of 7 years. And I really felt like it was a sacred journey, and that I was this chosen traveler that had to endure this situation to learn how to find peace in every situation. And I mean every situation. And boy, did the gates of triumph open for me over the past month. So over the last 7 years, I would say 7 to 13 years, I had to endure someone completely abusing their engineering power. Thank you. And I had a deep knowing. This is the deep knowing card. You see, we have the owl there on top of the moon. I am a Pisces. Pisces is significant of the Cancer, the sign of Cancer, and the sign of Pisces. I had to endure this situation for almost 13 years. someone trying to cause a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos, a lot of just drama in my life. And I was never meant to go through that. So it all started about 13 years ago when I went through a breakup. And I remember being on a retreat that I was running in San Diego. And I was working with this guy named Robert. And he was teaching me how to make money online. Really nice guy, also a Pisces. I'm still friends with him today. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, on this very Facebook wall, I had made just a simple post of my retreat guests and I had like hundreds of really cool like bots pop up on the post, and they were slanderous remarks. And I mean hundreds, like 100 in under 5 minutes. And I remember running to the person that I had broken up with a month prior and saying, "Oh my God, I'm being attacked on my wall." And I had had this wall for 5 years and that had never happened. And he was like, "Oh, well, maybe it's that guy you're working with, that Robert guy." And I believed him because I was young, I was naive, I was dumb, and I didn't realize that he was the one attacking me. True story. And these attacks continued for a lot of years while I went through a regeneration of how to deal with these online attacks, with these hackings, with these phishing messages on my phone, with these emails, with my privacy being invaded, with my Apple iCloud account that this person had set up on my first ever Mac being hacked. I put up with this for years because I was immature, I was naive, and I also, being a Pisces with a Scorpio moon and a Scorpio rising and Cancer in the 4th house, I couldn't imagine, we just had the Imagine card come out, that a person that was supposed to be on my tribe, friendly with me, that was supposed to care and love for me, would actually be doing this to me. And over the course of the years, it extended to people he got involved with attacking me that had never met me, as they stole my work, as they stole my quotes, as they stole my everything. And I was having to deal with this and learn how to deal with this. And you have to keep in mind, let me grab something 1 second, you guys. I want you to keep in mind that as I went through this, I had to learn how to keep my peace and my health intact and my peace of mind and my memory, because it was really confusing while it was happening. And I actually didn't learn who it was until 2020. So it started in about 2014 and it went on until just recently. And it only began to stop when I began to call it out. And even people around this person, acted like they were confused. But I learned how to stay poised throughout the whole situation. We have poised because I knew there was a higher power involved. Card number 4, higher power. And I knew that the only way to mend the situation was to learn how to ignore it, how to rise above it, and how to deal with this. I will call him an entity attachment, and then the person he was involved with, and someone who was trying to form an attachment to me. I had to learn how to ignore the attacks. And this actually became, I think, a mission for me to help others in many ways. Many of you have been married, you've been in relationships, you've gone through divorces, you've gone through breakups, and you've had crazy exes. This was a crazy ex on fleek. And this was one who attacked me with his counterpart for years. So why? That was the big question for me. Being a person, I don't know if you are into the gene keys and things like that. I'm not an expert in that field. I can definitely steer you to someone who is. But being that my main gene key is that of unconditional love, being that I am a Pisces, right? Being that I have like 4 fame markers in my chart, and I had these people constantly tearing me down, constantly sending spam bots to my email, constantly sending spam bots to my live videos to affect the sound, constantly attacking me from fake accounts on social media, constantly sending me phishing, text messages, constantly trying to ruin my name on the internet, constantly sending old pictures of me to websites that were just inappropriate, constantly doing this, constantly spreading lies about me, saying I had done this in my past and I had done this. It was all lies. And I had to learn how to endure that. I had to learn how to stay poised, and I had to learn how to get past the why and actually rise above. And it was hard, you guys. I got to tell you, it was hard. And it really does take a village, apparently, to attempt to take one woman down. And it didn't affect my happiness. Happy. And the reason it didn't affect my happiness is I knew a day would come where I would learn how to just literally stay like this through every mountain that was thrown my way. So I'm going to share with you what I've gone through over just the past 30 days and how I remained poised in the entire situation. And then I'm going to share with you techniques and tips you can use. So over the last 30 days, on March 27th, my payment systems were hacked on my website. I had a beautiful client, Jill, make a $400 purchase, and it went to a fake Venmo account. The code was interjected in my site. It was a bad situation. And we fixed it, and then on the 16th of this month, it happened again. So I had to migrate my site off of one place to a firewall protected place, and it was just an absolute shit show, right? And the whole time I was acting, happy while I was in between worlds of figuring out why someone would continue to do this type of thing. Why, after years, this would still be allowed to go on in the ethers. And I realized through my friendship circle and people that know me and love me that this was a test for me to learn to overcome this. The word I want to use is fuckery, so I'm going to use it. Fuckery. Sorry, Mom. It was a test. Thank you for all the hearts, you guys. I appreciate it. It was a test for me to learn how to overcome this nonsense once and for all. And I actually did learn how to do that. I learned how to do it through soulmates. Soulmates are not only our lovers, they're also our friends that come into our space. And this whole time, 2 of my girlfriends, Jessica and Elizabeth, were telling me, oh, just ignore them, fix the problems, ignore them, keep a paper trail, report it, and ignore them. And I've had to learn how to do this over the years. I am the type of person that will not look at what anyone else is doing. I keep my eyes straight forward. And this was something that was they were obstacles that were purposely put along my path to derail me in more ways than one. Financially, in relationships. I mean, there was a time where I remember a gentleman I spent 5 years with got a letter at his office from this fool. I mean, it literally was a situation where someone did not want me with anyone, having any money, having any happiness or love in my life. They wanted me focused on fixing problems and dealing with things that I should have never had to deal with. A lot of obstacles thrown my way, all technical obstacles, because this particular person knew that I'm not a tech person. I'm not meant to be. I'm a creative person. And no one should have had to deal with the amount of online abuse, online hackings, slandering of my name. No one should ever have to deal with any of that. But here's what I learned. I learned that whenever you give that type of person energy, you actually take from your grace, you take from your poise, you take from your own life, and you take from your time here on earth. And for me, it's that I was taking from the people I was helping. And, God will put the same situation along your path multiple times with different faces, meaning different people, until you learn that lesson. So for me, it was literally meeting after that first person who was very low vibrational, who I should have never been with in the first place. It was like putting Princess Diana with, I don't know, a good example with, I don't know, like Ted Bundy. It was not like a good match at all. And then I met a second person, worked for the government, also very high level, same type of control, right? Wanted the same type of control. Then I had been in a living situation where the owners of, this was years ago, the owners of a house, same type of control. So I had to learn how to overcome people who wanted to control me, who wanted to put their boot on my neck, so to speak. And I had to learn that over time. And I learned that by mastering myself, like major self mastery, like learning how to master my outbursts and freaking out when these things would happen. Like my payment systems were hacked twice over the past month, and I, boom, glided right through it with ease. Why did I glide through it with ease? Because I've learned that these things are all fixable. I've learned that the more, fuckery that's done to me is just building a case. I've learned that I can resolve these things with my team, and I've learned how to rise above it. So I'm going to give you 3 tips that I do when this type of thing happens, or when I feel like I'm being attacked, or when the guy's wife, who I didn't even know how to spell, I still don't even know how to spell her name even. I wouldn't even know how to find her on the internet. When she would be attacking me on her wall and from fake accounts, which actually just happened a few weeks ago. Again, it's always saying the same thing, right? It's always attacking my looks. It's always attacking my appearance. It's always the same thing. It's always using one word in particular that's a complete lie that starts with a P. It's always using that word. It's the same thing. So I learned to recognize the patterns, and that's the first tip. So the first thing that anyone will try to do when they're trying to disrupt your life is they will have a system that they use to try to disrupt your life. And so for me, it was almost like the art of war, right? Have any of you read that? It was like they would attack me in 3 different ways. They would attack me online from fake accounts. They would do the whole bot thing to attack my work on the internet and slow my growth. And then they would try to hide my work. So it was always like a 3-part system. So I would know what to expect next. It was almost like I could tell when they were having problems, because one would attack me one way and then she would attack me from the fake accounts. So what I learned to do is I learned to handle that with grace. And then I learned to protect my energetic vibration with a bubble of light. But thank you for all the hearts, you guys. I appreciate it. that bubble of light was very important. So I would wake up each morning and I would actually envision myself in a white light, and I would envision my dogs in there with me. And I would envision my family that lives at a distance. And I would envision my house. I would envision everything that I was creating. I would envision like the deck that I'm currently working on. When I was writing this book, I was envisioning that in there. I envisioned my garden in there. I envisioned every single thing in this white light. And that was the first step I took. The second step, believe it or not, was sound. I am a person that does really well with healing frequencies. I play them in the house from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. And it's actually very, very, very powerful for me. So sound was the second way I was able to ward these people off, send them back to where they came from. Like riding coattails no more, like just like be gone, you know? It was every time I would sit down and I would play my shaman drum. Is that behind me? It's up there. Every time I would play the shaman drum, every time I would play my singing bowls, every time I would do any of this, it would instantly make me, I don't know where my mallet is because there it is. My dog eats it, so I have to put it up. Every time I would do this, it would actually help me heal. And many of you may not know, the singing bowls can clear the chakras, but drums actually clear the lower chakras. So sometimes I would just go outside in the morning around the garden. My neighbors probably think I am absolutely nuts. And I would just play this. And it would get me moving. It would get me moving even through the hackings. It would get me moving even through the drama that they were trying to put in my life. The last thing I did was I created a sisterhood of women that I could confide in, that knew what was going on, my mom, my sister, my friends, and that helped me get through it. They were like, oh, just ignore it. She's at it again. Block her, ignore it. He's at it again. Have it fixed, ignore it. And I created that over time. So I literally have a group of like 15 women and men that I knew I could turn to, that would have solid, embracing, comforting words for me. And I find that that is like extremely important when you're going through anything heavy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of clear our energy, and I'm going to show you a technique I use to calm myself down, and you can use it for you as well. So what I'm doing is I'm rubbing my hands together, and this usually triggers my dogs into barking. I'm rubbing my hands together to create heat in my body. And I'm just going to kind of create like a veil around me of white light. And I would usually step into it and I would put it around my feet, up my backside, up the back of my neck, around my head, especially on my temples, my third eye, right? And I would just create every day. Whenever, she would create a fake account or he would be attacking me online or anything like that, or anything. You can even use this if you have just, someone leaves you a negative comment or something of that nature. With me, it was very obvious who was doing it, that it was the same people. I have a lot of people that love me. Very few people will leave nasty comments, maybe once a year. But this particular, I think it was the female from the way it was coming. it was indicative of the same words in every comment. Let's not give that energy. But what I would do is I have this room spray. I sell it on my Etsy store, the Detox Intuitive. I would spray this around me. I would even put it in my hair. It's got amethyst and essential oils. And I would just ask for my energetic vibration to be clear of anyone that was, forming these anxious attachment styles to me. And I would ask that they be released from me, and that they be released to where they came from, and that God, the universe, would do with them whatever needed to be done to detach them from my auric field and from my energy, and that they wouldn't be able to affect my vibration any longer. So you can do this. Thank you for the hearts, you guys. I appreciate it. You can do this anywhere. You can actually do it at home. You can do it in your car. You can do it at night before you go to bed. You can clear your energy using the heat from your hands, using, sprays. You can use sage. You can use Palo Santo. You can use copal. Those of you know I have the best copal in the world. I also sell that on the Detox Intuitive. You can use the singing bowls. You can use the drums. You can use anything. Ask your questions if you have any questions in the comments below. I don't even know if any of you are on here. Let's see here. Thanks, Elizabeth. We are soulmates. I love you. So, welcome, Joe. How are you? Okay, so, also a few other things you can do that are really healing. It's impossible for someone to affect you if you are clear in your center. And what do I mean by that? Literally, if you are clear in your colon, excuse me, one moment. Seriously? Here. Sorry. So literally, if you are clear in your colon, if your digestive tract is clear, it is impossible for anyone to affect you energetically, right? Because you can't hold on to it. When we hold on to shit, and then we're full of shit, shit can affect us. But when we are clear, nothing can affect us. And that is literally what raising your vibration is all about. Another thing is, eating high vibrational foods will keep you literally from being affected from negative energies and entities. People can form entity attachments to us through intimacy, or they can be intimate with someone that we were intimate with once, and then through the dream state form that. There's several different ways. So in order to cleanse, and I don't like to say cut the cords because people just bounce right back to you. I do something that severs the cords for life, like literally gets rid of people on like the astral plane, in this 3D world, in the 5D and beyond. So in order to do that, you have to take many steps. I'm at a point now where literally, no matter what anyone does to me, stay with mommy, I'm unaffected. Someone could drive through the front window and I'd be like, okay, who do we have to call to clean this up? Who? Who's going to pay for it? That's how unaffected I am vibrationally from anyone's BS that they throw towards me. I've learned over the years that people that are full of jealousy, envy, hatred, people who don't want you to rise above because you're moving too quickly for them, people who want to slow you down on the internet, people who want to stifle your growth, people love you until you grow beyond them. And that's when they begin to attack. So I've learned through someone, I was kind of like, always a hot air balloon going up, and these people trying to pull me down. Vishakta Nakshatra, that's the number one characteristic of my Nakshatra in Vedic astrology. I've learned over time that those people, because they'll never reach the level I've grown to ever in this lifetime, they will always have some type of beef with me, even though I don't have anything with them. And as much as, whoever they are in your life, want to point the finger at you and say, oh, this is you, and you're doing this, and you're crazy, and you're this and that. No, you're just aware. You're aware about what's gone on. You're aware about what's gone on the whole time. You're aware about the jealousy and envy. You're aware about the attacks. You're aware about the online abuse. You're aware about the fake profiles. You're aware, right? So however this is playing out in your life, let's make this about you guys. Maybe you have a beef with someone, right, from your past. It's your job to let it go, to end it. It's your job to stand in your power and say, I see what you're doing, and it has no place here anymore. None. That's the first step of ending something like this. It takes a lot of courage. That's the first step. You're not abusing anyone by doing that, right? You're not posting lies about someone on social media like it was done to me for years, even on this forum. You're not causing anyone harm. You're saying, I see what you're doing, and it ends. We're going to end it now. The other stuff, the illegal stuff, if anything illegal is being done with you, the best thing I can say, if any of you are being abused online, cyber stalked, had your iCloud account hacked or whatever, I learned my iCloud account was hacked in 2020. This is when I learned who was doing this to me. When I logged on to my first ever Zoom call, and this person's photo showed up as my profile photo, there wasn't a single photo of him anywhere in my systems. And I remember that's when I first reported this federally. And I remember I was instructed to keep a paper trail of every single thing that happened and go back. And I was asked, when did this start? And it started when I left this person. So I was able then to start to build a very long case. And so always keep great records, screenshot everything, every comment, every post, every lie. It's all slanderous, you can, there's no time running out on that, on the online stuff. And it is punishable by law. So really be smart about these things. I acted dumb while I was very smart in the background. And basically, you guys, remember, God and the universe will put the same scenario, different person, along your path until you learn the lesson. And the lesson for me was not to freak out when this kind of thing happens. When I was being attacked online, when I was being stalked, when I was being harassed, when I was having my privacy invaded, when I was having my work stolen, when I was being slandered online, not to freak out, to be smart, to be wise, to create a profile of what was going on, and to also learn how to protect my energetic field in order to finally learn how to rise above this, which was imperative and so important. And so what happens now, honey, we're not going down there. Oh, we're not playing. Come on. So what happens now is immediately, if anything comes through, I delete, I block, I take screenshots, I alert my team, and I go into protective mode to protect my energetic field, my dogs, my home, my whatever, and I ignore it. No matter how drastic it is, no matter how illegal it is, no matter how damaging it is, I have a very clear, crystal clear awareness of karma and how karma works, and that we should never try to give anyone their karma because that'll slap us in the face. But that if I just sit back and allow things to take place, hello, Libra in Vedic astrology, Pisces in Western, I will always be divinely protected, divinely taken care of. He's seconding that, and divinely guided and divinely rewarded. Actually, all of this that happened to me led me to where I am today, which is a pretty good place and a solid place. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to end this with the singing bowl. Sorry about the dogs. It's windy out and the dogs tend to kind of, get a little weird with the wind. Come on. I have a little tool I use that gives off a sound. And since Lewis doesn't hear, it usually quiets Maverick. But I don't know how kind it is. So I want to do a little more research before I start using that on him again. Come here. You're okay. So I'm going to take us out with the singing bowl. And I hope this helps just one of you. I really do. I'm going to see what you guys are, if anyone's even on here. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brian. So I'm going to end this with the singing bowl, and just learn to protect yourself is the best advice I can give you, especially if you're an influencer, especially if you have a public platform. Learn how to stand in your power when that type of, I'll say it again, fuckery takes place. You have to learn how to stand up for yourself, how to stick up for yourself and the truth with grace, and how to call things out like this when they happen. It's vitally, vitally important. Because, I'm going to end it with this. When this was happening over this past month, almost every day I got out of the house and did something nice for myself, whether it was taking a yoga class in the middle of being hacked, whether it was going and getting a facial. I got a $550 facial. I don't know what I was thinking, but those ladies were awesome. Whether it was getting a manicure and a pedicure, I was like, I'm not going to let this lower my vibration. People only attack you when they're unhappy. Remember that. There's a difference with what I'm doing now, which is to try to help all of you rise above this type of nonsense and just blatantly attacking someone for no reason because you're jealous and envious and don't think they deserve what they have or something of that nature. That's just wrong. I deserve everything I have. I've worked my ass off for it. I didn't come from money. Don't let the last name fool you. I didn't come from money. My mom has a different maiden name, and my parents were divorced when I was 3, and my dad passed at 10, and my mom worked really hard, and it was a single family household. I have worked for everything I have, and I didn't deserve for my business, my name, and my livelihood to be attacked for that length of period of time. And no one deserves that. And I know I'm not the first person this happened to. I'm very aware of the Illuminati and what goes on in LA and New York and all of that, because I've had my taste of that as well. But it shouldn't happen to anyone. And that's what I wanted to say. So rise above. Music, sound healing, clear protection, of light around your animals, your home, and yourself. Luce is going to bark any second. And clearing the vessel, keeping the vessel clean, so none of this can really affect you, is of the utmost importance. And really, creating that foundation of love with people that understand, and that even though at first they may think you're a little crazy when you share what's going on, over time they get that, wow, she's really going through some shit. Maybe we should. Forming that, I literally have like 15 people that know what's going on and are just like, oh my God, like just rise above it. And this is happening again. I mean, we actually like laugh over the screenshot fake account comments at this point. It's just like, can you think of something different to say than my eyes aren't green and I did something that's a lie in the past? Like, is there anything else? It's so, yeah, notice the patterns too. That's very key. If you're confused about who's doing something, notice the patterns of the way things happen. People are very easy to figure out when they don't have it all together and they're not, intelligent. All right, let's end this with a singing bowl, and we're going to end it just like we end all cycles, right? Because all things have to come to an end, especially when they're maliciously done. And so I think I'm patting myself on the back for ending a cycle of karma that I didn't ask for or deserve. And it feels good. I wish I had my feather to kind of push the energy your way. Feathers that came from roadkill, by the way, because I would never take feathers from an animal because I'm vegan. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go live on the Detox Intuitive, which is my spiritual channel, right after this with a reading. And then I'm going to upload the monthly signs there. And then starting next week, I have someone coming to film me. I'm going to start doing recipes to raise your vibration on Andrea Cox TV. So definitely subscribe to both of those channels. Okay, thanks. Be well. Bye.